Hi everyone, this is Janelle with Courageous Crafts. Today I'm going to be showing you how to manipulate a file so that you can cut it on a mat that is smaller than what the file actually will be once it's assembled. Right, so for example, let's say I wanted to cut this petal. As you can see, it goes over, I typically work with 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper, right? And so this goes over 11 inches. If you have a 12 by 12 mat, it's not a problem, right? If you have 12 by 12 paper, it's not a problem. But like I said, I typically work with 8.5 by 11, so I want to make sure I can cut this down so that it'll fit on 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. And as you can see in this list, it doesn't even give me the option to cut with 8.5 by 11. So let's cancel out of here, and I'm going to show you the process that I have for cutting down the petals so that they'll fit on 8.5 by 11. It does include cutting this petal in half. Not exactly in half, but cutting it down into multiple pieces so that it can be assembled into the final product. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So go to your shapes, choose a square. I actually want to duplicate this, and I'll show you why in a moment. So go back to your square, and somewhere a little further up, right, I am going to cut this shape in half. So what happens is this line, I'm going to be using the slice function. This line will cut this petal. All of the lines that intersect will cut each other. So let me show you. I'm going to highlight those two, hit slice, and now you can see how this petal has cut the square, but the square has also cut the petal. So that's its own piece, that's its own piece. We don't need these, so I'm going to get rid of those. And then your petal is cut into two pieces. So now that they're cut into these two pieces, they are the right size for 8.5 by 11. The issue for me though is once I cut them, there isn't really much leverage to glue them together. So I use this second petal to create a little bit of overlap so that there's some leverage for the other part of the petal to sit on for us to glue. So I'll typically cut that a little lower down, right? So it's a little lower down. Highlight the two and then slice. We won't need these pieces of the square, so let's get rid of those. And we won't need that piece either. We will use this part of the petal and this part of the petal. So now as you can see, when I cut these two out, there will be some overlap. So I can put glue up here, right? And then attach it to this top petal, right? So I don't need this and I don't need this. So let's go to make it. And the default is 12 by 12, so I'm looking for 8.5 by 11. It's giving me that option now, and there you have it, right? So now it's available to be cut on 8.5 by 11. I usually do 6 petals for a round of a flower. So I'm going to duplicate or make 6 project copies. Set the mat again to 8.5 by 11, and now it's available to cut on 8.5 by 11. Right, so here are the bottom parts. And in a minute, I will show you how to assemble these flowers and what they'll look like. Okay. Okay. So here are the pieces that cut, right? 2 separate pieces for the 8.5 by 11. And what you'll see is I can now line these up so that the edges meet, just like that. And when this is assembled as the final petal, this will be so far down that you won't really see this in the completed project. So let's go ahead and add a strip of adhesive. And we're going to go back in and once again try to line that up. Perfect. Apply a bit of pressure. And there you have